Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we have another important subject which concern with forensic medicine. First of all, we have to define what does it mean forensic. Forensic dentistry, that branch of forensic medicine that applied dental knowledge to civil and criminal problems. Now, what does it mean forensic? What doesn't mean this word? Forensic originated actually from the Latin word forum, which defined as the place where civil and legal matter were discussed, or the courts of justice. It is also called forensic odontology, which is defined again by the American Society of Forensic Odontology as the application of dental sciences to the law to produce dental evidence in interest of justice. So let us come to the important point, which concern the identification of individuality. So identification methods of individualities are: number one, fingerprints; number two, dentation. Those are forms the most significantly reliable or the uniqueness of individual dentation and specificity. I mean, those two important points, fingerprint and dentation, are the most significant features which depend on depend on it in order to run the program of forensic medicine. Number one, fingerprint identification. What does it mean? Is a definitive means of positive identification of unknown human remains, and it comes into use when identification by the use of skin, example fingerprint, is not possible. So fingerprint identification, it's very important in case of a human remains in order to assign what's type of the individual. Number two, dentation. In addition of fingerprint identification, we are coming to dentation. The teeth and dental restoration are the strongest element of the human body and serve the destructive influences of fire and exposure to the elements. Now let us come to the second important slide, which clarify the major field of forensic odontology. Those we are using such science in area of civil, non-criminal areas, and used for identify the a living person, which those who are losses of memory and individual remains. This field is very important in identifying human remains that are decomposed or mutilated or visual unrecognizable. It was done by using dental records in which the postmortem dental remains can be compared with the antemortem dental records, including written notes. See victims of major disaster. Also, those are very important, the forensic odontology to use it in case of hotel fire or terrorism bombing. Number two, those criminal identification, or those more important than the first one, which identify a person from, we can identify the person from their teeth, living or dead, or bite mark on which recognize on foodstuff and assailant or victim. This slide also shows how and why dental identification works. How dental identification works, or we call it application of forensic dentistry. This might clear, number one, aging, the aging of victim. Number one, in children, in case of children, the pattern of tooth eruption, the root length, degree of completion of roots, of erupted teeth, and restoration of root of deciduous teeth. B, in young adult, this is first one in children. 2b, in young adults, the third molar development is quite clear to identify a person who are considered as a young adult. C, in middle age and older adults, also those can include parameters like attrition. Number two, after aging, we have explain the different type of aging in children and young adults and middle age. Now coming to gender. Also, the odontology here works as skull shape and form, because here actually we have to remind that no gender differences regarding teeth morphology. B, tooth pulp tissue. C, mandibular canines size. After that, we are come to race, can be assessed from skull shape and form. 4, socioeconomic status and geographical factors assist through the quality, quantity, and presence or absence of dental treatment and endemic fluorosis. 5, occupation as dietary habits and dental or systemic disease. The presence of erosion can suggest alcohol or an eating disorder, while stain can indicate smoking, tetracycline. Unusual wear patterns may result from pipe stems or cigarette holders. Now let us come to identifying of unknown remains, and this is very important item in the forensic dentistry. Those are A, DNA, and B, bite mark. DNA, also called DNA fingerprinting, is a fairly new technology that may replace dental identification and fingerprint identification as the most definitive means of dental DNA analysis, or the coronal pulp chamber and radicular canal are obvious for DNA sampling. As regard to bite marks, it is a procedure by which data concerning an individual unknown are shown to match data concerning a non-missing person to such an extent as the forensic dentist compares ante-mortem, before death, records with post-mortem after death findings to determine if there is any positive match. Bite marks is defined as mark made by teeth alone or combination with other oral structure. Bite marks can be found on victim attacker, while the characteristic of human bite marks may be found on almost all parts of the human body skin. Now, a representative human bite is described as an elliptical or circular injury that records the specific characteristics of the teeth. Alternatively, it may be composed of two U-shaped arcs that are separated at their bases by an open space. The injuries caused by teeth can range from bruises to scrapes and cuts or lacerations. It is possible to identify specific types of teeth by their class characteristics. Produce rectangular injuries and canines produced triangular injuries. Other characteristics include fractures, rotation, attritional wear, congenital malformation, etc. When these are recorded in the injury, if it may be possible to compare them to identify the specific teeth or person that caused by any other injuries. This slide shows guidelines for bite marks analysis, and this is also an important information, which can descriptions of bite mark with demographics like location, shape, color, size, and type of injury. 2. Collection of evidence from victim by photographs, saliva swabbing, and impression. 3. Evidence collection from the bite suspect are clinical examination, photographs, impressions, bite sample, and salivary sample. Well, what are the factors that may affect the accuracy of bite mark identification? This include, number 1, time-dependent change of the bite mark on living bodies. 2, effects of where the bite mark was found. 3, damage on soft tissue. 4, similarities in dentation among individuals. 4, poor in techniques, example, photography, impressions. Also, dental profile of the suspected are subject to change by time. For example, loss of teeth, history of dental caries. Finally, this is a very important fact, says that dentist not only improves health by doing treatment in a private clinic or preventive program in a community, but also may also play a major role in justice achievement.